The rain had just started to fall when Mara Quinn's hope finally broke. Her trembling hands clutched the folder that held her medical reports, words that had already rewritten her life: stage 3 lymphoma. She had walked into the hospital praying for mercy, but the world inside was colder than the November air outside. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, a receptionist's keyboard clacked rhythmically, and behind the front desk, a doctor in a crisp white coat stared at Mara with no trace of empathy. Her voice was clipped, bureaucratic, detached. Without full payment up front, she said, "We can't begin treatment." The words cut deeper than any diagnosis could. If you believe kindness can still heal what the world breaks, if you believe second chances matter, then please, like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Every story here reminds us that humanity still breathes in the unlikeliest of hearts. Mara sat in her wheelchair, silent tears tracing down her pale cheeks. Her father, Harold, stood beside her, his rough hands shaking. He had sold their family truck, his old tools, even the wedding ring of Mara's late mother, yet it still wasn't enough. "We'll come back," he whispered, his voice breaking. The nurse at the counter looked away, uncomfortable, pretending not to see the pain unfolding before her. As Mara turned to leave, her gaze caught the reflection of herself in the glass door, a tired woman in her early 30s, wrapped in a faded hoodie, her head covered with a scarf, a ghost of the vibrant artist she once was. They stepped out into the drizzle, Harold pushing her wheelchair down the empty hospital driveway. Mara felt humiliated, like she was walking out of a place meant to save lives, only it had chosen which lives were worth saving. She clutched her folder close to her chest, as though holding it tighter might somehow change its contents. But what neither she nor Harold noticed was a group of leather-clad bikers watching from across the parking lot, under the overhang of a diner nearby. Among them was Rex Dalton, a broad-shouldered man in his 50s, his gray beard soaked with rain. Rex was the president of a local motorcycle club known for doing charity rides for sick children and veterans, a group most people misunderstood. They looked rough, loud, and intimidating, but those who knew them understood they carried hearts bigger than their engines. As Mara's wheelchair hit a small bump and her folder slipped from her hands, papers scattered across the wet pavement. Harold bent down, scrambling to gather them, and Rex stepped forward without thinking. He helped pick up the damp pages, scanning one that read, "Chemotherapy estimate, declined due to payment incomplete." When Rex met Mara's eyes, he saw something he couldn't ignore: exhaustion, fear, and a quiet surrender. He didn't say anything then. He just watched as they got into a worn-out van and drove off into the rain. But by that night, he had made a call to his crew. They had helped people before, food drives, wheelchair donations, but this time felt different. "No one fights cancer alone," he told them. "Not while we're still breathing." The next morning, the hospital lobby buzzed with the same sterile indifference. Nurses moved briskly, patients sat waiting, and behind the counter, the same doctor reviewed charts without emotion. Then came the sound, a deep, rumbling chorus that echoed through the hallway. The automatic doors slid open, and half a dozen bikers stepped inside, boots heavy on the tile floor. Their jackets bore their emblem, Iron Hearts Brotherhood. Every head in the lobby turned. At the front desk, the doctor's hand froze midair. "Can I help you?" she asked, trying to sound authoritative. Rex stepped forward, his voice calm but commanding. "You already could have helped someone," he said. "But you didn't." The doctor blinked, uncomprehending, until Mara and Harold appeared from behind the group, called by Rex earlier that morning. Mara's eyes widened as she realized these were the same men she'd seen at the diner. "We're here to make sure this woman gets her treatment," Rex said, sliding an envelope across the counter, filled with cash, donations from the club, and receipts from fundraisers they'd held overnight. "Paid in full." The room fell silent. Even the nurse behind the counter looked stunned. For a moment, the doctor tried to protest. "Sir, we can't," but Rex cut her off, his tone steady. "You will. Because every hour you delay is a life slipping away." Behind him, the bikers stood shoulder to shoulder, their presence heavy with unspoken defiance. The security guards, unsure what to do, simply watched. Then something shifted in the doctor's expression, a flicker of guilt, of shame. Without another word, she nodded to the nurse. "Prepare the patient." Tears filled Mara's eyes as she was wheeled down the corridor. The bikers followed quietly, their boots echoing like a heartbeat of solidarity. As she passed each sterile room, each cold light, Mara felt something she hadn't felt in months: warmth. Not from medicine or machines, but from people who refused to let her be invisible. In the following weeks, the Iron Hearts Brotherhood visited often. They brought her meals, laughter, music, even painted the children's oncology ward with bright murals. Rex would sit by her side, telling her stories from the road, while Harold, once broken with worry, began to smile again. Mara's strength grew, not just from treatment, but from the kindness that surrounded her. Months later, when her final chemotherapy session ended, the entire hospital parking lot was filled with the roar of motorcycles. Dozens of bikers had shown up, engines revving in celebration. Mara stepped outside, thinner but radiant, her scarf replaced with a small beanie embroidered with the Iron Heart symbol. She looked at Rex, her voice trembling. "You didn't just save my life," she said. "You restored my faith in people." The doctor who had once turned her away watched from a distance, her eyes filled with regret. She approached, apologizing softly, but Mara only smiled. "You can make it right," she said. "Just never turn anyone away again." And for the first time, the doctor nodded, truly listening. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps more people believe that compassion still changes lives. Before you go, comment below, "I still believe in kindness." Let the world see that love, courage, and humanity can still win, even when everything else seems lost. Because sometimes, the loudest hearts ride on two wheels.